super excited to be here to share some adventures I've been doing in drag makeovers using facial models in AI. And they're all using the facial model StyleGAN, and Flickr Face's high quality dataset powers this persondoesnotexist.com, which you may have seen. It's quality faces generated from a dataset of 70,000 people, and they're all realistic, and they're all generated kind of on demand. The ecosystem of StyleGAN is flexible enough to support drag queen makeovers out of the box, and there is a publicly available demo of it. It took a lot of work to do, so maybe it's worth thinking about ways to make it easier. StyleGAN uses some ideas from style transfer and kind of progressively growing networks to separate generating backgrounds of images from foregrounds of images. If you're doing faces, you can kind of separate a blurry background from like your eyes and your teeth and whatnot. And you can smoothly interpolate in the 9,000 dimensional space it works in. All of these faces are somewhere close to the zero face in this 9,000 dimensional space. The code's available. The training data is available from Flickr. There are several pre-trained models available. And if you have a week or so on a machine that costs $25 an hour to run, you too can make your own models. If you want to generate your own training data, it's even more expensive. And the idea is that it comes from 70,000 faces extracted from Flickr. They're all 1024 by 1024. They get aligned and cropped in various ways with statues and paintings and photos pruned out. So there definitely is a bias in that, but they say it contains considerable variation in terms of age, ethnicity, and image background. There's good coverage of accessories such as eyeglasses, sunglasses, hats, etc. These are 7 sample images, but accessories are more than just a pair of glasses. Well, the idea is that when you're encoding, you crop an image to a face, you choose a loss function, as we saw in the last talk. You have to gauge where you are with where you want to be. Is it just have your parameters exploded to a prime number close to infinity? Is it the just sheer pixel difference? Is it some statistical model? And once you know how to improve, there are ways to optimize where you are. And the zero face that you want to, that a lot of facial models kind of hem towards, a lot of the models from this person does not exist keep pretty close to the zero face. It's possible to get kind of glitch art if you go too far off, but you also don't want to stay too close to that. Maybe you want something more exciting. Maybe you want Ezra Miller's 7 eyes from the Met Gala in 2019. Maybe you need Tina Martinez's adversarial poinsettia fascinator with industrial holiday cheer gift bows. That didn't register as a face, even though we can all see it is. So I'd attempted to compile some faces of reasonable photography subjects that seemed worth including. PR is welcome, and I'd attempted to encode all of those, and I plotted the loss over time of encoding it compared to encoding that zero face. There are 3 selfies I took with a just like webcam in my office, just like waking up in the morning, and then there's Billy Porter as the sun god with more of a loss. You can see he's resplendent. So that's interesting because it is proportional to how well you conform to the training data, which is great. If you feel like going out and being a bit more genderqueer, you can take a selfie and see like this is too close to the average of 70,000 people on Flickr. So this is a way to just shift it up a bit if you're in control. If you're not in control, if that runs on a CCTV, this is a bad idea. But either way, running it is expensive, and it's tough to model like a sun god look. Bob the drag queen's like blue wig, hoop earrings, and a snarl, like a smoking water pistol and whatnot. And there are ways of kind of seeing how the end product maps to the beginning, and you can see ways that that the encoding progresses over time, and it makes more sense if you see it kind of exponentially sped up, because you need to run it a lot longer than you would expect just to converge to something that resembles to what a human observer would consider to be a reasonable encoding. So the point of this is that there's a lot of ability to do vector space manipulations. The original Stelgan encoder I used had 3 dimensions. One was age. You add age, and it becomes younger. You add gender, and it becomes more butch. And you add smile, and no one really needs to have a computer tell their selfie to smile. And all of those are straightforward enough, but why not try a dimension of a performer into and out of a costume? So why not do a drag makeup tutorial? Furthermore, if you have computationally defined what a makeover is, you can say, how do I look out of the drag I've got on? So you can go in the negative dimension, which is not exactly intuitive, but that's how that goes. So here I am doing a Trixie Mattel look, going into and out of drag. I've got like a C-3PO Zinc robot fantasy knockoff, and either way, I've got kind of a Chernobyl like skincare routine when I'm going out of drag. But it's not immediately clear, seeing this, that what I'm doing is going into a Bob the drag queen look. And what we can do is we can take a selfie that I just did a moment ago, and it's up. That is a zero face of Stelgan 2, and it is uploading as far as I'm aware. Doing a thing. So that is up. Not well. All right. The demo gods are not with me. Let's get. There we are. So I've got a selfie. I've got the dimension from Brian Furcus to Trixie Mattel. That is the same human being in a lot of makeup. And I'm encoding right now. You can see it kind of progressing slowly. This is me going out of drag. This is me going into drag. It's not exactly like prime time quality, but you can also see that there are that it gets kind of glitch art if you go too far. If I go 110%, there you've got Chernobyl skincare routine, and you've got kind of turning into plasma. So don't turn into plasma if you can avoid it. It's not very sanitary. So there are a lot of uses for this as kind of fun glitch art, like ways to do a makeover. It's also worth thinking about kind of larger scale impact, though, because this is all fun and games, but it takes a while to curate a data set, to provision GPU machines, and the GPU machines are super expensive, to tweak all the parameters, and this is not just for computer vision. We've invented 180 voices in Google Cloud text-to-speech, and they're either male or female. And the California state ID is more gender diverse. How often does that happen compared to like voices cooked out of thin air? So rather than doing like homophobia whack-a-mole, why not analyze the field as a system? And Donella Meadows in '97 published 12 leverage points of kind of places to intervene in a system with varying amounts of leverage. So the first one, you just kind of tweak the hyperparameters. You like encode it for twice as long. You change your models and this and that. And that's effective, but not as effective as tweaking the buffer sizes. So build new facial models, build new notebooks with more inclusive training data, which is effective, but not as effective as varying the structure of material stocks and flows, like using diverse data sets or having diverse hiring practices, which is effective, but not as effective as the delay per rate of change. So run a continuous integration benchmark to assess kind of how inclusive your encoders are, which is effective, but not as effective as like slowing negative feedback loops, and slowing positive feedback loops. So file PRs to make your AI more inclusive, but and fix bugs and add features in inclusive projects, not to the exclusion of other projects, but which is effective, but not as effective as structuring information flow, so raising awareness of systems, of issues of inclusion, which is effective and not as effective as changing the rules of the system. So like amplifying of voices, raising awareness, or putting on some adversarial fashion to insert junk snippets from the Fourth Amendment into license plate scanners, driving around. So step 5 and step 6 and 5 are what we're doing right now. 4, kind of organize system structure. So make a culture of open data, have reproducible results, and be aware of how things go, and change the goal of the system. Like maybe AI should be more inclusive and ethical, which is effective, not as effective as break down the mindset and paradigms of this system and challenge anomalies and failures of assumptions. Like, where does the training data come from? Like, are human benchmarks the best benchmarks? GNU freedom 0. Should you have the freedom to run the program for any purpose on a drone with a gun? How about sensitive groups? How are sensitive groups impacted? And after you've got that there's a lot of power to transcend paradigms. So like if you teach people to code, if you drop the price of GPUs massively with like Google Colab and whatnot, then there are ways of decentralizing advancement of queer liberation. So thank you. And let me know what you think. It's been super exciting. Thank you.